All right, it seems that I forgot to turn on the screen for coming soon or for starting soon. So I guess we can just jump right into it. Um, might as well do a good YouTube video. All right, so seems that everything is running. That's great. So let's jump into it. You might be familiar with this block. Stop using page objects and start using app actions. So this is actually the first thing that will pop up if you Google for page objects Cypress. This is the first result. So kind of a strong statement right at the beginning. You want to use page objects, and what you see is stop using page objects and start using app actions. And this blog was written by Gleb Bahmuto, and I think and I like that he made a strong statement for page objects and app actions. Although I see that it creates some sort of confusion sometimes. That, for example, when we talk on Discord server, I can see sometimes a question pop up, like I heard that page objects are not. It's not it's an anti pattern. You shouldn't use it or something like that, which is not really the case, and I don't think Gleb is making this case in this blog. It's a long blog, so if you if you didn't read it until the end, that's I guess that's okay. There's lots to study in this, and we're not going to study that today, but we're going to look into some of the arguments that Gleb has made here. And we got some first viewers. Hi, Andre. Nice to see you. And yeah, page objects. Are they anti-pattern? Definitely not. If you feel like using page objects, you can do that. Tests in Cypress are written in JavaScript, so you can do whatever JavaScript allows you. And if you need to make some kind of abstraction, that's totally fine, and you should probably do it. You shouldn't probably have 1,000 tests written, repeating themselves over and over again, because whenever something changes in the app, you'll probably have a lot of work to do. And believe me, I learned that the hard way. So being quite a beginner, I think that's what happens. All right, so let's actually move to the master branch. Oh, and by the way, I forgot to mention page objects and app actions. This is actually a topic that I actually wrote a blog about, but it hasn't been published yet. But if you want to catch it when it is published, make sure to follow me on Twitter or on LinkedIn. But more importantly, maybe you should follow Angie Jones at TechGirl1908, I think. Or you can also follow ApplyTools, because that's who I wrote the blog for. So it's going to be published probably this week. We'll see about that. But you can just follow me on Twitter. I'll definitely be shouting about that, and it's going to be awesome. So this is more of a live stream version of what's going to be in the blog. Maybe something more, maybe something less. Anyway, be sure to check it out. So let's start our app. Start. And I'm mentioning this app all the time during every stream that I do. and it is a Trello clone app. So I run it by running npm start. It will just build itself and run it on a local host, and you can check it out on my GitHub. You can't imagine page objects in Cypress? Well, so let me show you. Let's actually start with page objects, and let's build something. I know what we are going to build. We're going to build some page objects around this login. Let's actually make this bigger so it's easier to see. Maybe that's too much. And there's the login button, and if I click on it, there's a whole thing going on. So I have this component which is a login screen or a modal window, and it has a couple of states. So it has the login state where you can log in if you have an account, and if you don't have an account, you can click on sign up here, and the state of this modal window will change to sign up. So we can write a page object for that, because this may be an action that we may repeat quite often in our tests. We will be signing up a lot, we will be logging in a lot, maybe, and maybe we want a page object for that. So let's build one. By the way, I'm just going to be repeating a lot of stuff that has already been said on Test Automation University at Applitools, and I'm mentioning Applitools today a lot, but they're pretty cool. They have made this Test Automation University. If you haven't heard about it, I strongly recommend you check it out. It is a free resource for various courses on on anything on testing. So yeah, you got Jenkins, you got Test Cafe, PyTest, Introduction to JavaScript in general, Nightwatch, WebDriver, Robot Framework, Cypress. It's all in here, and it's all for free. There's a course on Cypress made by Gil Tayar. I hope. Oh, I didn't click on it. Oh, sorry. I didn't click on it. I clicked on something else. And I hope I didn't butcher Gil's name too much. But Gil has made a introduction to Cypress video, and he talks about page objects. And I actually learned how to make page objects in Cypress from his video. To be honest, I didn't really know what page objects are. I got the general idea, but I had no idea how you would write a page object in Cypress. And he introduced me to that, so thank you, Gil. And this will be a short showcase of what he shows. So let me jump to the Cypress folder, and I will create a page objects folder, and I'll just enter it here in the support, because that makes sense for me. So let's name it page objects. And hello, Weveraptor. Nice to see you. So, and I'm going to name this page object login. Although we can do login and sign up with our, we're going to be covering login and sign up, but I think I call it a login component. I think, not 100% sure. So let's do that. And so page objects, I don't know what's the convention, but what I've seen in Gil's video is that what you will create is that you're going to create a class, and you're going to export that so you can import that into your test. So I'm just going to write export class, and I will name it login. And this class is going to be containing various functions. So for example, the first one, I have a thing over here. The first one will be called open, because obviously what we want to do is we want to open open our login modal. And what we will do here is that we are going to select our button over here, and click on it. So let's open Cypress so we can actually start writing our test. Okay, npx Cypress open. By the way, is the music too loud? I tried to make it not too loud. It was too loud last time. So if you think that it is too loud, let me lower it down a little. All right, so let's create another test. Let's create an what music? You cannot even hear it. So there's like no music, or it's very low volume. Because no music is not a problem. If it's low volume, then it's okay, I guess. If it's too loud, then that's the problem. That's the one I had last time. So let's do login. Okay, it's low volume, and we can live with that. Login page object. I'm going to name this. And let's try the first test. And that first test is going to be called login. All right. So let's save it all. I'm going to login PO as page object. Now let's see the browser. It's over here, jumping all over my screens. And since I got nothing in there, nothing is happening except my coverage things. By the way, if you're interested in coverage, I did some videos on that, so check out my YouTube channel and you can look into that. But I'm not going to be using coverage, so let's just set it to false. We don't need that right now. Coverage will be false. All right. So now I'll run my test again, and it should be completely empty. And it is. So that's great. So let's close this and let's add something into our login PO test. So I'm going to type, I always tapped enter twice, not sure why. Visit, we're going to be visiting our page, and what we want to do is to get our element, but I don't yet know what the element is because I don't know it by heart. So let's just select selector playground and click on our login, and we have data CY selector over here. Since I've made the app, I've added it, so that's good, and I'll just copy it. Let's do that. Save this, and what we want to do is to click on this. So this is the action we are going to be repeating, right? Get our element and click on it. So I might just as well copy this and add it to our page object class. So I will add this, and it's going to be part of this open function. So I'll save this now, and our test is just going to be opening our app because I deleted this. And now we're going to be using our page object. So let's use it. What I will do here is that I will import the login. Am I doing that right? I don't know. And I'm going to import login from the support page objects login. Is that correct? Probably. We'll see. Okay. So, and now, no, it's underscoring login is declared, but the value is never read. Oh, that's okay. So let's create a new constant, which will be login with a lowercase l. and that is going to be instance of new login. And seems we are good, but there's still something wrong. Maybe I have imported it wrong. It has no default export. Oh yeah, I thought I should put it in the, I should put it in those brackets. And yeah, okay. So now I've got a new instance of login, and what I'm going to do in my test is that I'm going to do login, and from that class I'm going to use the open function, and as you can see I have my function over here, so it auto-completes for me. Now when I run this, I do login, open, save my test, is doing what I expected. So now let's click on sign up here. So what we are going to be doing is that we will add another page object here, and that will be go to sign up. And since these are functions, we can actually pass parameters. We're not going to pass any parameter now, but if we wanted to, we could. But what we are going to be doing here is just select this text, which is sign up here, and click on it. So I'm going to be using contains command for that. Sign up here, and we'll click on it. And now I'm going to use it. And what I want to do is actually to change these commands like I do with CY. But if I start typing, you can see that I'm not getting any autocomplete. And what I need to do with my page object is actually that in each of these functions, I think I need to do it in each of these separately, like I probably have to repeat myself, is to type return this. And what this will do is that after the function, after our command chain is executed, then we're going to be returning to the original context. So that will be login. So we can actually chain off our functions, and we are always going to be returning to the login class. So now when I save this and start typing go to sign up, it's going to be showing up, and we got this nice page object flow over here. So now when I save this, we are on the sign up page. So that's cool. So you can see how these page objects can help us in our tests, right? So we have something that is common, and whenever we want to use that in a test, we'll just import it, create a new instance, and then we'll just use it in our test. And this is nice, this is readable. We are opening our login, then we are going to sign up. So I think that's pretty cool. And it depends on your project. If you want to do this abstraction, then I mean, go ahead by all means. If you don't want to do that, you can, I don't know, if you can just use Cypress commands. I mean, that's totally okay, because Cypress syntax is actually really readable. And what I think is important in our tests is that they are highly readable, that whenever that test fails, you exactly know immediately you know what happened, where it happened, why it happened, and so on. Creating these page objects can help you with that. However, if they are too complex inside, I think it might get a bit complicated. So you kind of need to do all kinds of architectural decisions on how to make your tests readable, debuggable, is that a word? Easy to debug, and easy to work with, basically. So yeah, another use for page objects is that they can quickly get you to a state that you need, that you want, right? So for example, let's say that this is not even the important part in my test, because I have a separate test for opening my login or going to sign up, but I actually want to sign up and then do something. So my user story actually starts with the sign up, right? So these are really nice and quick way on how to get to the state of my app where I have the sign up screen opened, and I'll just start my user story here, right? I'll just start typing. Maybe I'll put this in a before each block, because I want to write a series of tests that basically start on the sign up page. And this is actually where our app actions can become handy, because what we are doing here is that we are using our UI to get to a certain state, right? Our test, what it does, it will click on the button, then it will click on the sign up here text, and then we are basically where we want to be. But what if we don't do that through UI? And let me show you what I mean. Let's go to, where's my browser? Here it is. So I have my app opened here, and I'll open my DevTools, and I may have already mentioned this or not. This app is written with Vue. And by the way, if you're new in development or web development, Vue is actually a really, really nice framework, and I have found it was a really nice experience for me to learn this. I think it's fairly easy, and you can achieve a lot with limited knowledge, speaking for myself. So Vue, check it out. They also come with this really cool DevTools, and these DevTools actually can help you examine what's inside your app. And I have these different states, right? So for example, I have this error message which can be set to true or false. So if I set it to true, can I set it like this? True? Nope. Oh, it doesn't show up because of reasons. But okay, but we have this show login module, for example, that I can check, and voila, you can see that my login module is actually visible. I'm not sure why I'm seeing the sign up thing over here. Did I interact with my ID? Probably. Yeah, because the default state is login. Maybe it doesn't reset when some case happens. So, but yeah, there's this flag, there's this data point show login module that can be either set to true or false. And what I have in my app is a function that will set this show login module either to true or false. That's what I do. And while I'm clicking in my DevTools, I'm not clicking on anything. I'm just changing state of my app. And this is what app actions actually do. They can change the state of your app without you needing to interact with it. So let's see what I mean. We will need to take a look inside the code of our app. So let's look into the assets folder, and I think this show module is inside the navbar. No, it was actually in the root. And here it is. Okay, so this might look a look a little difficult, but actually it's not. It's the same thing that we were looking into in our DevTools. We got the error message, we got the logged in states, something like that. We got the show login module, true or false. So this is the root thing, right? And as you can see, this is basically how you define a new Vue app. So you have your constant, you have new Vue instance, you got your methods, routers, stuff like that, and I'm not going to go too deep in. And then what we will do, we'll mount it inside the tag element, which has the ID of Trello app. So it's just a JavaScript constant. I'm doing something extra here, and what I'm doing in my main.js, that this app constant, I'm actually exposing it in the window app. So let me show you what I mean. When I go inside the console and type window app, oops, I can actually see, let me make this bigger. I can actually see my Vue app. And there's lots of different stuff that even I don't remember or understand what it does. But if we look closely, we can kind of start to see some kind of familiar stuff. So for example, our show login module is over here. There are also some functions, which are reset boards, reset task, reset users. I haven't shown these yet, but they're pretty cool. So if you want to check out my app, there's this functionality. So when I create a new board and then type F2, there's this tool thingy that will reset my application if I want to. So since I use this application for showcasing on my workshops or for working in my workshops, these are the tools that you can pop up and basically reset the state of your app. But let me, oh, what did I do? Okay. But yeah, so these are some functions that are used in over here. But okay, let's just close this now. So that's a distraction. Let's just focus only on this, on the show login module, because we already know that this is what changes the state of our login model window. So if this is set to true, it's going to show up. If it's set to false, it's not going to show up. It's that easy. And you may have noticed that it didn't change because that doesn't like change live. But what I wanted to show you is that I have my window app, so that's going to be my Vue app, similarly to what I have in my Vue DevTools. But I can actually do a really cool thing. I can go window app and go with the show login module and set it to true. And bam, my login will show up just like that. So what I did is that I changed the state of my app. Because it is accessible from the window context, I changed it like this. So if I change it back to false, my app is going to hide it. And since Cypress is running in the same window that our application is running, we can do exactly that. So let's do like the simplest form of page of app action that we can do. So let's go back to our code. I'm going to close this. I will actually create a new file that's going to be login app action. So not Alcoholics Anonymous, but app action. So login with app action. And I will type visit, and then what I will do is that I will use the window command, then use my then command, and we'll take our app. Let me just show you what I do here. So I'll just console log this out. App. Let me save this and run my test. There. So I used my window. Let's open my console, and you can see that my view app is visible here. So I got it. I logged it into my console. So let's actually do the same thing we did in the other window, and let's actually change the state of this show login module attribute. So let's do app show login module and set it to true. And I'm not doing window app because I'm actually calling window here, passing it into the then function, and then destructuring just the app attribute from there. And inside my then function, I'm setting it to true. So let's save that and see what happens. My login window is opened. So we essentially did just the same thing we did moments ago. Just type this and change the state of our app. And we did that using the window context. So yeah, let's do something else here. Let's actually get to the sign up state. And the sign up state, I think I need to do something else for that. Let me just check my notes. Yeah, okay. So let's examine this a little. So my app is made out of different components. Oh, and by the way, if I wanted to do like window app here, you can see that it doesn't work. It will just return something else. And the reason for that is that if you work with console in your Cypress, you actually got multiple contexts here. So you can actually go, if you want to work with your app, you need to switch that to your app. And then when I type the exact same thing, window app is actually going to return my view element. All right, so let's examine this a little. So we looked into the show login module that is set to true, as you can see, and we can look into other stuff. So basically, what we did, we have accessed our root component, but we can actually, well, of course, we can access our child components, and those child components are over here. And this is where it gets kind of complicated, or rather it gets hard to navigate through. And I already know my app, so I know what's where. So I know there's a nav bar component, there's a board list component, there's the login component, and all kinds of different components. So I made myself a helper function that will help me with selecting the right component. So let me just actually find it because I lost it somewhere. Let me just, yeah, okay. And it's a really, I think it's really a primitive way of approaching this. So let me just, what will I do? I will add a custom command, but I don't actually want to add it here. So let's just add it right into the index file. And this is it. Okay, so I made myself a custom command called component, and there's some custom logging over here. And if I don't pass a custom component, I will get a root component. And if I do pass, it's going to find the right component based on the name. So I'm not going to go into explaining all of this. It's really messy, but let me just show you how it works. So let me hide this for a little and use my cy component command that I have just imported, and is being underscored because I didn't add types for it, but here it goes. So when I click on this, it returns nothing. Maybe I need to add something. Root, probably. Oh yeah, okay. So now when I typed in root component, it will return my view. So this is already maybe starting to look familiar. We got our show login module over here. So if I want to type this, but in a very similar way, then what I will do is just copy this and type it like this. Let me see, I kind of forgot already. Root, I think I wrote it like this. It's not the clearest way, not the least messy way, but it's a working way. And by the way, if you know a good way of how to approach app actions, if you ever used app actions, let me know. Let's write in the chat. Let me know if you know how to do it. I'm just kind of experimenting with it, and what this is actually a showcase of what I have experimented with. So what this custom command component does is just help me select the right component. So when I select root, I can show login module true, and it will set that variable to what I need. What I want to do with my app action is to go to that sign up here, and when let's look at that's you probably don't see over here, right? So I want to go to sign up here, but I don't actually want to click on it. I just want to change the state of my application so that this is visible. So let's look into our app again for a little while, and I have my markup file here, and all of my templates are in this. I am quite aware that there is a better way to do this. I'm just iterating over this app. So let's find what we want to find. We want to find this sign up here button. So let me just look for it. Sign up here, and there it is. Okay. So look over here. We got an anchor link which has the text sign up here. And if you're not familiar with Vue syntax, this is how you can, I think that's pretty readable. So if I click on this anchor link, do something that it's called lock sign switch. And this is a function. This is the name of a function we want to trigger. So let me find my lock sign switch, and it is inside our login component. So I got a couple of components here: board, collection, logging, navbar, and here's the login component. And what this function does is, oh, we want to do that, is that it's going to change the sign up card active into whatever it wasn't before, and then change the login card active into whatever it wasn't before. So if it was true, it's going to set to false and vice versa. Let's look into that inside of View Tools, right? So let's open this and let's look into this login component. So it has couple of data attributes here, and you can see that the login card active is set to true. So we can see our login card, it is active, right? If I check this off and basically set it to false, then we will see nothing. If I have sign up card active set to false, I don't see it. But if I check it, it's going to show up. And these two actions, or these two changes, are what our function does, right? So log sign switch is just going to take these two attributes and set it to true and false. So back to our test. Let's again find our component, and we're going to be working with our login component. And what we want to do is to use our then function. Let's go with login, and we can actually do things. We can set this manually by login card active. Login card active. We're going to set that to false because we don't want to see that. And sign up card active, we are going to set to true. So this is something we can do. We are just going to be changing these data attributes to our desired state. So let's save this. And now that we run our test, we can see that our app is opened, our login component is visible, and we are in the sign up state. So we are getting to the state without ever interacting with our UI. And we can actually, instead of this, we can choose another approach and just use our function, right? So instead of doing this again, we can just call our function. So let's do that instead. And bam. And now I can see it does the same, right? So we have changed the state of this login component. And I think this is really powerful. I think this is really cool way of how you can approach testing your app. But I think the more important thing about these app actions, or this approach to app actions, is understanding your app. So I have gone through maybe I've dived deep into my application. I'm sorry if it was a little confusing. I hope it wasn't. But if it was, I suggest you come back to the video or read the blog that's coming out this week on Applitools, or maybe next week, but I think it's going to be this week. Read the blog, examine it, or maybe clone the application from GitHub, and yeah, you can examine it yourself. I actually have a branch that is called App Actions Page Objects, or vice versa, something like that. So you can check out the branch and play with that over there. I have that component custom command over there. So I'll save you some time with figuring out what's where. But I think this is a great way to learn more about your app. Whether your app is written in Vue or React or Angular or Svelte, I think it is a good practice for testers to look inside the app, understand how the state of the app is changed what changes it, whether it's a function, whether it's just a flag that it's set to true or false and stuff like that. I very, very much recommend it. And there's lots of other cool stuff you can do that. Actually, I wrote about one cool thing on my blog. So it's philipries.com if you don't know it yet. I write blogs every week, so make sure you check it out. But what I wanted to show you is that you can actually test a WebSocket application with Cypress. Not that you would be able to look for the WebSockets like you can in your network panel, but you can look into the state of your app. So I have made the state of my app visible, and then what I did is that I looked into the state of my app and was actually expecting the state of my app change because of that incoming WebSocket. And when you look into the state of your app, you actually open yourself to a lot of new possibilities of how you can test your app. You can go much deeper, but I think the most valuable thing is that you can go deeper with the understanding of how your app works. So yeah, I think this is all I had to say for today. So yeah, hit me up on Twitter or LinkedIn. Make sure you follow me on YouTube. You know how YouTube works, so you can do that or not, whatever. I mean, be free. If you think this deserved a subscribe, you can do that. You can also find me on Twitch, and I try to stream every week. So far, it has been most of the time it was on Mondays. I'm thinking of moving it to Tuesday, but if you follow me on Twitter, you'll definitely know. I'll shout all day about that. So thank you for coming. This was nice. And yeah, okay. See you next week. Bye everyone.